Hello, good morning or afternoon, according to the time you're going to be watching this. This is Edwin, and I'm going to explain the activities, basically the speaking and reading activity. First of all, I would like to start mentioning that I always try to work with students by applying scheming and I'm sorry, pre, while, and post activities. I think that it's very important to clarify this because if students work on pre, while, and post activities, they're they actually success. I mean, with the target language and with the outcome. I mean, with the objective of the class. So first of all, I would like to mention that the activity that I'm going to explain varies, of course, depending on the level. For example, I'm going to explain um, both manners. I have applied this with rather basic students or advanced students. So I'm going to show a picture of the activity. But first of all, I would like to mention that our topic is intermediate. Sorry, the topic is uh, conditional. The conditional part two, second conditional. So the students are asked a question given by teacher, in this case me, but I always try to catch students' interest. Or I mean, I always try to make the students feel like interested and involved with my class. So I always try to look for their interests or even their needs, so I could like facilitate the class. So one of the topics right now for students, I mean, I basically work with students, I mean, from in elementary school, and so I also work with students that are basically high school learners. So one of the topics that they always mention is, for example, YouTube or social media topics, Facebook or YouTube, TikTok, that is a very, very common topic nowadays. So once I have their attention within a specific topic, I design the activity. In this case, as I said before, the activity is second conditional. So I'm going to mix the second conditional with the topic, which in this case, social media and stuff. The point of this is to get students' attention. So once we have already practiced or I have already taught the topic, how to use it, in this listening activity, for example, if they are basic students, they are allowed to write down the questions. Okay, first of all, the pre-speaking activity is to work on verbs, to make an activity working with verbs, and the verbs with in simple past because they're gonna use it. So first of all, I developed an activity. For example, I ask the students or brainstorming, for example, hey guys, what's the simple past of the verb write? And say, no, teacher, me, that's wrote. All right, so now who can help me with the verb do? Now, teacher, it's the simple past form is did. So I try to activate the students' schemata in order to make them remember all those verbs. So once I have finished with the pre-speaking activities, I'm going with the while listening activity. In this case, I'm going to show my screen so you can see what I mean. I tell my students to form two lines face to face. Okay, nowadays it's a little bit complicated, but I mean this is for face to face students. So during these days, everybody knows there is a problem with the coronavirus. So I always try to make students like take certain distance, like a meter. Of course, everybody wearing a mask. So I tell the students to separate like arm to arms, or just 1 meter, 1 meter and a half. If we see some problems or anticipated problems in the lesson plan, we're gonna be specific. We're gonna specify what the anticipated problem would be. In this case, if the students are separated, that will be much better. So I tell the students to form two lines face to face, okay? But before forming the lines, in the case of basic students, I give them a question. For example, if you were a YouTuber, what would your channel would be about? So I catch students' attention with this because they start like asking, oh yes, I would like to be a YouTuber and I would like to record videos and post them on YouTube. So I get the students' attention, I catch them, and now they answer. For basic students, they answer these questions and they write it because they might forget the answer. Okay, this is like the way I work on them. So students write down the answers by their own. This is their own. And I try to tell them to remember because they want to be using it. All right. And if they are basic students, they can take their notes or the piece of paper where they wrote. Now, once they have the answer, I tell them to form 2 lines. As you can see, students form 2 lines here, and they are now allowed to talk to each other. And that's like the positive things. Sometimes in old classes, we find like shy students. They don't want to participate. They don't like it. But what I liked of this activity is like as everybody's gonna be talking at the same time, they focus on their own, and nobody pays attention to their classmates. I mean, the ones that are around them. They just pay attention to the person that they have in front, okay, and of course their own comments. So that's a good activity because as everybody talks, the student that is actually shy feels free to talk. He feels or she feels comfortable with a partner because the partner is the one that's gonna be just listening, and that's like the positive thing. So once they start sharing their opinions, okay, and this is important because I wanna mention that turn taking, it's very important, as we said, we saw in the reading part, in the anthology. So this activity fosters turn taking because students don't know when to change, and I'm going to explain the second part of the activity. Students start talking, and they gotta take the turn. They gotta make the turn taking in order to make both students talk. Why? Because if in the instructions, the teacher says, if I clap, they gotta move, just like the picture I'm showing. For example, if they listen the clap, the ones that's at the end will move to the next student, and the last one will go to this person. So once the students listen to the clap, they move and they start talking again. Same question. If you were a YouTuber, what would your channel be about? So, and they start talking again about, okay, they start basically telling the answers or sharing their opinions with the students, with their classmates. And in this case, they are practicing with all the students at the same time. That's what I like of the activity. Students talk, students take their own turn with no problem. So as I said before, if they are basic students, they are allowed to take their notes, their books. But if they are advanced students, it's not really necessary to take their notes because they already are fluent English speakers. So that's like the positive part. I also like to do this activity because their answer is like more authentic. This is an authentic answer, and this is not like they practice an established conversation from the book, from the student's book. No, this is an authentic and nature talking because they actually create their own answers with a topic that they are interested in. So that's what I like this activity. And the post activity is just like, okay, hey guys, I asked them, the students, like, guys, if you were a YouTuber, now in front of a group, somebody participates and we discuss, okay, yeah, your YouTube channel will be about games or video games. That would be great. What video games do you would like to play in? And I pick a lot of students activities. That's what I like these speaking activities. So as I said before, if they are advanced students, they can just freely talk. But it's very important to remember to make sure that when students listen to the clap, they change so they can participate with some other classmates, and they are not just talking with one. That's like the positive part. And as I said before, they practice the turn taking part because they don't know when they are gonna listen to the clap. So they gotta basically hurry up in order to participate and to share and listen their students' comments. So this is like the part when they work the turn taking part. And then the post speaking activity is sharing some opinions about it. So in the next activity, okay, the next part is explaining the reading activity. And in the reading activity, I also think that skimming and scamming is very important, and I'm gonna be working with it. So, and of course, that they gotta learn vocabulary because it's very important from that part. So, one activity that I use is creating their own questions. First of all, what I do is to tell the students to skim. Sorry, I tell the students to skim the text. They read in some minutes, and I ask, hey guys, do you got any questions or known vocabulary? Let me know. And they stand up and go to the board and write the word. And for example, if they don't know the word mug, for example, M-U-G, they don't know what it is, and they write it on the board. They are allowed to write down a certain number of words. They cannot write down like 20. I mean, just like 10 or just some words, because that's the point. Is also to infer, to make the students infer what the words are according to the context. So once we write down the words, I ask for participations. For example, one student don't know, but another one knows, and I say, okay, guys, let's help. What does mug mean? And some about no Spanish, guys. What does mug mean? Give me example. Give me synonyms. And they say, teacher, it's the object you use for drinking coffee. No, or similar. For example, a cup, or it's like very close to a glass. I mean, I ask for participation so we can infer the words, the vocabulary. Once we all have already settled the words, the vocabulary, I tell the students to form groups. For example, 3 groups, group 1, group 2, with group number 3. And they create some questions based on the reading. So once they have a read scheme, they design their own questions from the reading. If the reading is about endangered animals, for example, okay, and keeping the same topic, second condition. If you could save turtles, what would you do? But in the reading says like one of the most important facts about turtles, and they read and they create their own question like, what is the most important thing about turtles? The point of this is they have to read and understand the text in order to create their question. That's the activity. They create their own question based on the reading. And I like the students because they are excited to create, because they want to make them difficult so the other group can be in trouble too. It's like a funny activity. The next part, once they have already designed, of course, they don't design like 10, they design like 3 or 5, according, of course, to the level they have. Now, they share, they switch their notes. For example, number 1, give the questions to number 2. Group number 2, team number 2, give their question to team number 3. And number 3 gives the question to team number 1. And if they have already read the text, they answer the question. They answer the students' question. As they switch the notebooks, they have to answer, but they have to understand, and they have understood because as they read and they created some questions, they know what the topic is about. So they read and they answer. Then we switch notebooks back and check the answer if they are correct or not. That's a very great activity. Then they can freely talk, I mean, with a specific activity, and they already have a comprehension about the text, and that's a very great idea. It also helps students to develop the reading skills, because they are forced to understand, to comprehend the text, but not by teachers. I mean, teachers guide them, but as they want to create their own questions, that feels amazing. That's a great activity. So that's gonna be the end of the activity, the speaking activity and the reading activity that I am going to explain. I have everything is understood and it's clear. Thank you very much.